you who are watching this Fireside Chat Connecting Dot series. And today on our team, we are going to discuss about the cash flow solutions which are being faced by e-commerce sellers around the globe and anyone who is already selling in US-based big box retailer platforms. So join with me today. I have Derrick from Cenports. Derrick, a warm welcome to you and welcome to the show as well. Would you be able to give us a quick introduction about who you are and your background in the e-commerce sector and how you guys help e-commerce businesses on one hand and how we can help any e-commerce seller on the cash flow side?
Yes. So yeah, my background is I've been doing e-commerce for the last almost 18 years. And then basically my background is really selling to B2B e-commerce dropshippers, getting products into Home Depot, Lowe's, even have other sellers that sells products on Amazon. So basically what Cenports is that we have a SaaS platform that connects to many online retailers, big box retailers or smaller retailers, doesn't matter who it is. We have one dashboard that aggregates all the orders and inventory management systems, what you call OMS. And we also provide an infrastructure warehouse network for B2B, for online e-commerce clients to sell into these channels. So what we are is a plug and play network. Basically, if you have a product that you want to bring into our ecosystem, and we'll help you distribute your products to the Home Depots of the world, the Wayfair, the Lowe's, and obviously most sellers will open their own account on eBay, Etsy, Walmart, and then Amazon. But those are not what we could do that, but we try to help clients to discover other channels besides those other e-commerce marketplaces. Yeah, that's what we do. And then yeah.
So when it comes to e-commerce sellers, it is a known fact among the financial literate professionals to accountants or any seasoned e-commerce business that cash flow is the lifeblood of any e-commerce or any other standard business, right? So if a seller, this we come across even as nFinance, who usually provide daily payouts for e-commerce sellers to solve this cash flow problem. Let's try to understand what the actual problem is from the eye of a seller who is new to e-commerce business or who is starting to sell their products on e-commerce, who have already created their Amazon account, Shopify store, and probably selling a product which is worth $100, right? But the cost is probably $20, and shipping plus advertising, all those costs to combine together, they might be having an actual cost of around $50. Now they can assume on paper, okay, I get $50 every time I sell a product. Now, if I sell 10 products, I'm going to make $500 per day, right?
Yep.
Does this concept only works on paper, but in reality and in real life, how does this work?
Yeah, so what I learned doing business for the last 15, 20 years is cash flow is king, right? You always hear people saying the same thing, cash flow is king. So just even if you sell a product on your own Shopify store, D2C, there's still a bunch of cash flow problem. First, you order something from, let's say, a manufacturer in Vietnam, China. Once you order it, the moment you have to invest that money, the moment you have to put 30% down, and then the moment that you ship the product, let's say a full container load, 40-foot high cube, then you have to pay the rest. So, and in a general rule of thumb is that if your FOB price is $1, you'll probably get it to the end consumer around $3.50, or maybe even 3x or 4x is between there. So that is the initial investment. And then by the time the container gets over to the warehouse in the States, that's already a month and maybe even 5 weeks, right? And then if the container is slower, then it's gonna be what do you call that? Sorry about this. I had a call coming in. What happened here? Okay, sorry about that. So then it's still about pretty much what's that word? About 5 to 6 weeks. You know, by the time you get there, now your cash is stuck in your inventory, right? So but then by the time, let's say you have a D2C brand, you know, you're gonna sell it to online. Let's say you sell online, you sell $100 at a time, but you know the credit card company is going to take you 3 or 4 days to get you paid. So by the time, let's say you sell half of it, then you have enough money to replenish yourself on the D2C side. Then you're going to go place another order, you wait, and then so the D2C model is not as bad as selling on Amazon. They pay you in 15 days. Now that's another cash flow problem. But then right after the Amazon's, if you go into Amazon and then you go into selling on Home Depot, Lowe's, Wayfair, those guys are really, they're gonna pay you, you know, net 30 now, right? That's even worse. And then I think Petco, or either Petco or Chewy, is net 60. Now, once the moment you sell this, you don't have enough money to buy new inventory. And that's the problem, right? And this is what you call cash flow conversion cycle, right? The shorter it is, the better, right? So, but then...
And also wanted to add some context to any e-commerce seller who has been probably selling really well on Amazon on one side, but currently inflation is also hitting the market. So your borrowing rate, even from a standard lender, is also very expensive. Your credit card costs can also skyrocket due to advertising charges. It can be Amazon FBA charges, and also the product sourcing would also impact when many days are going to be taking when it comes to getting paid. Can you also touch on these areas as well?
Yeah, I mean, getting paid is like, so like when I say like Home Depot and Wayfair, they always have a discount, right? They say if you want to get paid earlier, which is when you say pay early, the net term is net 45 or something like that, and then you get paid earlier, you pay 3 weeks, right? Then you have to pay an extra 2%. Some of it is what you call discounts, right? And I don't think Amazon does that. They had but you know. But based on all this, the high interest rate and everything else, yeah, the cost of, you know, money is high, and it's really hard to you don't really want to borrow money in that high sense. Okay, so and then there's something that out there that's called merchant cash advance, right? Those are extremely high. Merchant cash advance, they would basically they don't care about your sales or anything like that. They do care about your sales, actually, but then what they do is they connect your bank account using Plaid, or you upload a 3-month bank statement. They see your cash flow. Then what they do is they buy your future invoices or cash flow, and then but those can go up to pretty much like 30% interest for someone to really look into that. Yeah. To get that kind of what do you call it? Merchant cash advance.
Wonderful. Yeah. Very good insights, Derrick. And when it comes to cash flow related problems, before we started this idea of sharing insights about e-commerce sector problems, which most of the sellers whom we are providing services are facing on a day-to-day basis. Why do you think that e-commerce, or do you think even e-commerce industry talks about how to becoming millionaires by selling through dropshipping? e-commerce industry content usually talks about building your own business and becoming a very successful in e-commerce. E-commerce businesses talk about, or maybe content are amply available about how to advertise properly. But why do you think cash flow is like a very lesser discussed area when it comes to even YouTube, or when it comes to even real selling? Do you think that information about cash flow is really less, so people are actually falling into trouble?
I think so. So a lot of these get rich scheme, you know, there are people out there that does like, it's basically a lot of D2C brands, right? Hey, let's, you know, it's easy, you know, you gotta advertise on TikTok and all that stuff, but you have to think about it. The rule of thumb is 30 every time you sell something, if you do it yourself, and if you're doing D2C, not selling through Home Depot, right? The rule of thumb is, I think it's 30% of advertising dollars. Well, but then again, you know, when you advertise, well, where do you find that cash flow? They don't talk about that. Nobody talks about cash flow. So, you know, so for example, you buy $100 worth of stuff, you brought it over to the state, but you still need to generate traffic to your website, right? Then you have to buy traffic, 30%, right? So then all of a sudden, you know, I see, you know, my industry peers, the D2C guys, you know, to start out that. So what they do, they get an American Express card, because you really have to pay up front for ads, like Facebook. The moment you do an ad, you have to pay up front. So basically, they get an American Express card, charge it, and then pay 30 days later. Again, you know, those are the trick in the industry to like really extend your cash flow, right? But then again, it's only 30 days, right? So, but then if your campaign, it doesn't do too well, what happens then? You'll be spending a lot more money on ads. That's the
Amazon,
thing about all these
Amazon statistics would show you that there is good sales coming in, but American Express would be knocking your door with skyrocketing bills. So this is a lesser known or lesser discussed area which many miss when it comes to cash flow problems.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So if you are to give an e-commerce seller one advice when it comes to becoming success on Amazon, let's say starting with Amazon, and who would have a certain set of products which can be even expanded to other platforms, what would you give as an advice when it comes to e-commerce cash flow is concerned?
What do you mean on the e-commerce side of cash flow? So, you know, for me, I'm not I'm totally what you call that, like Amazon is 40% of the market, and if you sell through Amazon, you know, just always look at the terms, right? So make sure that let's say if you sell on Amazon, I think it's 15 days. Make sure that, you know, you're also driving traffic to the website, so always watch out for your the net terms, right? And then Amazon's 15. But then, you know, if you sign up with Home Depot, overstock, net terms, net 30. So you really have to watch your cash flow, making sure that these, you know, the terms for each individual is individual sites or marketplace that you're working with. You know, it is very important to know the terms. Else, you might run into a big cash flow problem.
So,
right? If you're just selling on Amazon, it's fine.
Okay,
right?
so
because you understand that one channel.
Yeah. So when it comes to this question, for someone really new to e-commerce, what is mentioned by you as net terms? What does it mean?
Say again. I just lost you.
What is net term? What is net term?
Oh, net terms?
Yes.
Net terms means basically the moment you sell something, the retailer or Amazon will pay you in a certain amount of time. So net terms mean that net 15 basically is like, hey, today, November 1st, I sold something. Then Amazon will pay you the 15th of the month. And then if it's net 30 for Home Depot, then you sell something today, Home Depot will pay you on the 30th at the end of the month, basically November 30th. So that's the terms, what you call net term.
Thank you very much for shedding that light on the particular matters, which might be complex for someone who is trying to understand or maybe break down and understand these concerns in the e-commerce industry. So when it comes to cash flow problems, from my side of the story, where nFinance, who is also happens to be the sponsor for the show as well. So nFinance is providing daily payouts for e-commerce sellers across multiple e-commerce marketplaces. We are not limited to Amazon. We are not only limited to Walmart. There are 10 plus other platforms which we can provide factoring to. So factoring is for any seller who is already making a sale today, they would be able to get up to 70% of that particular selling amount. And once the platform pays, we would be, nFinance would be receiving that funds, and we would be releasing the 30% of the balance, where from the initial first 70%, we would deduct our fees. So compared to an e-commerce seller who is only getting funded from one platform, what advantages do you see from nFinance side when we are capable of funding multiple platforms? How would that help an e-commerce seller?
Yeah, so no, I've been in the e-commerce industry for a long time, and then I also been talking to a lot of financial companies, for my clients' cash flow and ourselves' cash flow. So for what nFinance is doing is what you call non-recourse factoring. Non-recourse factoring means that you guys don't actually check the credit of your client. You're actually checking, let's say, hey, if it's Home Depot, you will factor them. It doesn't matter, right? So, and I think that's a great way of doing business for Home Depot. I mean, you're actually helping Home Depot clients to for the cash flow. And from what I've been seeing in the market, I haven't seen anybody who's capable of doing factoring for Home Depot, the e-commerce side of things, the Lowe's, and then the other side of things. But of course, there's other companies out there that does factoring for Amazon, Shopify, and all these other companies. And these are what you call the new FinTech kind of company, right? And the reason why also like traditional banks cannot factor these e-commerce invoices. If you go to, let's say, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and all the local banks here, hey, I want to factor, my Home Depot invoices. And what they're going to say is like, show me the PO for Home Depot. And then if you show the PO for Home Depot, if it's $100, they'd be like, we can't do this. So what they do is traditional banks will factor like bigger invoices. Minimum invoices are like 20,000, 30,000, and they have people in there and really write it up. So traditional banking cannot do this. But the new FinTech kind of company, what they are doing right now is really just focusing on the marketplace with APIs, so they can plug it in to see that, are you really selling these kind of items? And before they factor you to do non-recourse factoring, right? Just not checking your credit score, but checking the Home Depots and then the Lowe's, right? But then if you sell into a .com that no one knows about, I don't think then I don't know if nFinance is going to do it or not, but that's something that nFinance will have to make the call on. But yeah, so that's where I think the uniqueness of nFinance is like you guys could do the Home Depot, the Lowe's, and all that marketplaces besides just the Shopify, Amazon, eBay, Walmart. You can do all these other many other platforms.
Perfect. So when it comes to an e-commerce seller, we have been also asked this question many a times by e-commerce sellers. When it comes to platforms like Amazon, they already have a certain lending program, right? Certain seller-based lending programs. Would every seller who is having this cash flow problem would be eligible for this, or how would it help an e-commerce seller who is just starting to list their products on Amazon? Would they be able to get the funding from Amazon itself?
Oh yeah, I think it does. Is the fact that the moment that you sign up for it, because what's going to happen is I think they work with Chase Bank. I think Amazon, and there's other factoring companies, non-recourse factoring. They work with you even if you knew. What's going to happen is this: you will have to put that account, your bank account, and then send the money to the factoring company. And that's all it is. And if they're going to factor you, they'll factor you because at the end of the day is that they have a connection to Amazon. They know exactly what you sold. But then some company, you have to have a sales history first before they even factor you. So there's certain companies do certain things. I don't know. You just have to find the right company that does that. But pretty much like, I think, nFinance, you guys, you'll probably do it on day one. So I'm not sure. But yeah, it doesn't matter because at the end is that if you start factoring, the moment that you factor and the API comes in, you already know that you sold, your client sold something. So it's not fake, right?
So when it comes to nFinance, we go through the seller's e-commerce history, and historical data is the key concern which we analyze. Based on those historical data, we would be able to provide factoring for e-commerce sellers. But when it comes to the advantage, if someone would ask us, what does the nFinance provide compared to Amazon? We on our side, when we are concerned about our service, we would be able to provide factoring not only for Amazon. We are not limited to Amazon. And any e-commerce seller who had been selling on multiple platforms, or even starting from Amazon to expand to Walmart and other platforms, we would be able to provide that factoring. So I think that's a very big advantage in the industry compared to, okay, for Amazon, I need to run to Amazon. And for another platform, I am going to run for another lender. Then the cash flow journey itself gets complex because you have to manage finances with multiple parties. So I would introduce nFinance as one creditor who would be able to provide funding support, daily payouts for any e-commerce sellers, daily basis, and you don't need to run to multiple lenders who are out there in the market. So that's one big advantage which we can offer. And when it comes to e-commerce business, what are your suggestions when it comes to borrowing at different rates? You would have seen many sellers working with you, trying to borrow money from credit cards, personal loans, business loans. Why should they or even can consider ditching that compared to an e-commerce based funding supplier like nFinance?
Yeah, so an e-commerce funding suppliers is pretty much on demand, right? You don't have to do credit checks, anything like that. I mean, if you're gonna go to a traditional loan, you might get a business loan. They might have personal guaranteed, or you have collaterals. Then the rates are cheaper. Let's say you put your house your house on as collateral, then obviously you get a 7 or 8% cheaper. But for non-recourse factoring like nFinance, and you don't have to. There's no personal guaranteed. There's no what you call that. And yes, it's pretty much not personal. You don't have to put collaterals down. So every invoices is real that you send out. So that's the difference between why you want. It all depends again. If you could, if you wanted like, hey, you want a cheaper rate that you want to guarantee it, yeah, you get it. Or you want to factor it. Yeah, obviously it's going to be a little bit higher rate. It's close to like in the teens, right? So that's something that somebody will really have to consider. But at the end is very convenient for you if you want to factor your invoices quickly and without any kind of what's that word? Application and, collaterals and all that stuff. If you ever, go and apply for a loan, it's very tedious.
Valuable insights, Derrick. Apart from all these areas related to borrowing money, factoring, or providing funding for multiple marketplaces, I want to pick your brain about your experience as a seller on e-commerce industry as well. For a seller to plan all these things, sourcing products, getting the products shipped, facilitating the logistics, packing, doing the advertising, what sort of concerns should an e-commerce seller look into when it comes to designing the pricing strategy? How should they price a product? Would they need to add all these particular elements? How would you suggest, let's say someone is sourcing a product at $20.
Yeah.
What would be a healthy pricing strategy which would help on the cash flow on a day-to-day basis by adding these particular costs in a proper way?
Yeah, so what I actually so this is where we come and help our clients, right? If you're a brand new manufacturer, let's say right now the buzzword is OBM instead of OEM, right? OEM is original equipment manufacturer. Right now it's called original brand manufacturer. Means since that last factories want to build their own brand and go e-commerce, and a lot of these new guys are coming in, and they have to understand the structure. So again, the general rule of thumb is that if you're buying something for $20 at FOB price, then you pretty much have to times it by 3.5, right? So it gets up to the consumer at, let's say 3.5 is what, $70, right? So you have to sell at 70. But in between, the FOB price is 20. That's what you said at 20. But then you have to mark it up enough to cover your so this is what you call this the importer pricing, right? The wholesale price. So once you get to shore, let's say from China to US, that $20 to $40, that $20 margin, right? That $20 margin is to cover your ocean freight, custom clearance, inventory risk, warehousing, and salespeople like distribution, right? And yeah, and operation guys, right? So that $20 in between. But now, that's your wholesale price. Let's say you're going to make $20 to cover all that, and then then you sell it to, let's say, a Wayfair. All right, you sell it to a Wayfair, you sell it to a Home Depot. That's your wholesale price now. On the wholesale price, you sell it to Wayfair for $40. So what Wayfair does, they'll probably mark it up to 70, but most people 70, 80. That let's make it simpler. That $30, right? It's like they mark it up. They won't double it, but pretty much mark it up like another 30%, $30. And when I say and then that $30 is to cover Wayfair's marketing expense, Wayfair's sales and customer service. It covers your last mile delivery, which is the UPS rates. So after all that, then Wayfair will probably make about maybe a 20% margin, right? And then on the wholesale price, you'll probably make another 10 to 15% margin. And these are very slim margins, and that's how it gets together. But that's why, like, recently, all these like direct to consumer brands is working well. Is they take all these margins together, like they make 10% here, 20% here, and then combine it, right? And now it's a 30% margin. But the problem is also this: as a direct consumer brand, instead of sending something from Hayward, California to New York, direct to consumer brands will have a higher UPS or FedEx last mile delivery cost, and it probably takes like $10 to go to New York from here to Hayward to New York, right? But for Wayfair, Home Depot, it'll probably cost them like $5, $6. So those are the key differences in regards to what you call it, the pricing concerns. You have to really look into which part of the margin is responsible for what? Yeah. Hello?
That's a very good insight when it comes to a seller, because mostly what someone would come across is this pricing they would not really have figured out when they are new to the industry, or uh, just entering to sell on the multiple platforms. So these are certain costs which someone needs to consider when it comes to e-commerce, and that really helps them to have a healthy cash flow compared to getting into the sinkhole of, all right, I have figured out this, but this part I haven't. So that's the untold reality. Someone who is teaching you e-commerce would not talk to you, or maybe keep you informed about. So being informed about these costs and expenses and how to keep those margins would really benefit you when you are managing your cash flow in the e-commerce business. So as a fintech, which is providing e-commerce based financing. In large scale businesses, we call this supply chain financing, where we cover the financing from end to end. But on e-commerce based businesses, many e-commerce based business sometimes complain that they don't get the funding on time. So what are the reasons usually when it comes to getting funding on time? Because is it the reason that they haven't considered the net terms as we discussed on the earlier, or is it because of the amateur level of understanding? They haven't went through the terms and conditions which these marketplaces usually have placed. What are your experience, Derrick?
When you, funding on time, most I think it's more of the brands doesn't understand the terms, right, of things. And most of these I would say pretty much 90 something% of these online retail stores that pay you on time. So that's not the issue here. Yeah.
It is the
So
understanding is not there among the founders or whoever starts selling, that they haven't read through the long sheet of terms and conditions sometimes, or they get
yeah,
cluttered with so much of marketplaces, correct? So
yeah.
I want
And
you to share, how does Cenports help these sellers on their day-to-day journey, where Cenports is providing a fantastic support across multiple platforms. I want
yeah,
you to share that as well.
so we consider ourselves more of a infrastructure and educational company. We educate our e-commerce clients to on different channels. We tell them about discounts. So example, Overstock's discount, right, is 11%, while Wayfair sometimes it ranges from 6.5% to even 10% if your damage rate is high. So those are the kind of stuff that we educate them in regards to the net terms. Like obviously, if your product, if your discount is higher with Overstock, then you might want to raise your wholesale price a little bit, and then say, hey, look, your discount's too high. I don't want to, I don't have that margin for it. So those are the kind of stuff we educate them. And then another thing is, besides just the nFinance side, the non-recourse factoring for these invoices, we also could help our clients to say, hey, you need with ocean freight invoicing, lending, or inventory financing, cargo financing, right? So we have companies out there that we work with that actually finance the cargo, finance the for 60 days. The moment that your product lands here, they finance it. Obviously, there's another interest charge, but then there's multiple ways you could leverage your cash flow. Cargo financing, ocean freight financing, and then of course using nFinance to finance the actual invoices for the last mile, the consumer stuff. So if you put all this stuff together, now it's very healthy if you put in all these financial plans together. from A to Z, right? So I think that's the stuff that we do. We educate our clients in regards to how things work on the e-commerce space, and what to do, right? And then to keep a good cash flow. And yeah, and at the end of the day, yeah, go ahead.
So when it comes to an e-commerce seller, let's say there might be an e-commerce seller who is already watching this podcast, or probably listening to the podcast, watching this YouTube video or our TikTok video on Mr. FinTech. So if they are keen to connect with you on getting their e-commerce business, do they need to have a certain amount of minimum sales they need to do to get connected with you guys, or is there a limit? How can they connect with you?
Yeah, just send me an email. It would be Derrick, DERRICK at Cenports, CENPORTS.com. There's no minimum. What we do is we are basically we will educate the brands, the e-com sellers, and all the different marketplaces. And yeah, that's basically what we do. We educate and help and provide the infrastructure for these brands to sell online. But if you're selling well on Amazon and you're selling well on your D2C brands, and you don't want to go into the other channels, then yeah. So we're not good at running an Amazon store. We're not good at running a D2C store, but what we're good at is providing the infrastructure, providing the software to manage all your multi-channels, providing the WMS for your warehousing and your network, and making connections to different online stores.
So let's say someone who is located in India, or someone who is already in Malaysia or China, Hong Kong, maybe Nigeria. What type of a service would you would be able to give them to access the US-based e-commerce market?
So basically, just to give a walkthrough, we had a factory in India that does linen, right? Textile, that bathroom blanket. So they know nothing about the market. So what we do is we educate them about the margins. So we have a P&L for them, educate them about the ocean freights, how things works. Once they're ready to understand this, then what they say is, hey, we give them our warehouse address. They ship the product over to our warehouse. And we have a team to load his products through many different channels. It depends on how you want to do it. Either sell it through our account, or we can help them open a new account. Sometimes if he wants to open a new account, it requires a US entity, right?
Yeah.
So let's say with Home Depot. But I think Wayfair, Amazon, you don't need a US entity. So, but some of them doesn't want to deal with corporate taxes and don't want to deal with. So what they do is they just put it into our warehouse as consignment, and then we sell to other different channels on behalf of them and help them build the brand. So then we'll deal with the taxes. We'll pay Uncle Sam, and we also help them outsource it to if they want a D2C website, we will look for agencies to help them build a website. Amazon store will we have good partners with Amazon stores to help them run the Amazon store. So that's why what I said earlier, we're not good at running Amazon stores. We're not good at running stores, but we have partners out there that are really good at running stores. So those are the services that we offer, and also branding. We don't do it, but we have a partner. So that's why we call it the Cenports ecosystem. If you need something, and of course, nFinance is one of our partners, right? So we'll provide everything to for the whole ecosystem. Oh, and then we also do returns services. We're partnered with Rush eCommerce in regards to that too. Yeah, so we have a lot of partnerships.
So Cenports has a lot of partnerships, because we know that, because as Cenports has been our major partner when it comes to connecting with the e-commerce journey as well, and nFinance had been connecting integrated support to any seller who is already selling on any marketplace through Cenports as well. So
Yep.
as an e-commerce seller, do they need to belong to any particular set of categories, or do you usually provide support across all the categories? If you can
Yeah.
share
So
that insight as well, that would be great for any e-commerce
yeah.
seller.
So yeah, that's a good question, actually. So for now, we are just really just focusing on for the home category and the pet category. In the future, we'll be expanding to other different categories right now, right? So what we could help is like the big box retailer, anything that you sell on Home Depot, Wayfair, Walmart, we could help. Right. But then if you start saying, hey, I want to sell shoes, maybe we could only really start getting into the Amazon, which is, and then the Macy's, or we're not even connected with Zappos. So those are but our main category right now is for the home category. But then,
what about Walmart and maybe Overstock, Macy's, and those sort of sellers? Let's say that if there are someone who is into fashion, maybe clothing, maybe personal care, or maybe certain home-related electronic items. I have seen that you guys already provide services for kitchen or home and garden-related electric and those sort of products. What sort of product categories would you can go into from your existing to areas which you plan to expand?
Yeah, so we're starting to expand to the home appliances, electronics, mainly these kind of categories. The more the bigger ticket items a little bit, that will work a little bit more. But for like jewelries, it's a little bit harder for us to do. But again, but then it doesn't stop you. Like for example, you want to work with nFinance. We can integrate with Etsy, we can integrate with other platforms, so we can provide the data, the source of truth, right, to nFinance. So that's in the sales side, it's a little bit harder for us to help. But then for the infrastructure, for the 3PL and the software to manage all these channels, that's not a problem.
Great. So when it comes to an e-commerce seller, if they currently use Amazon FBA or maybe fulfillment services by Walmart, what benefit would they have if they are to work with you? And usually Amazon FBA has certain prime charges when it comes to shopping seasons like Christmas season. How does it help when it comes to an e-commerce seller if they are to partner with you?
Yeah, so my recommendation would be if we have a product that you're going to sell on Amazon, you sell on Walmart, and then you want to sell on Home Depot and Lowe's. So basically, we'll have to split the inventory, right? You will have to ship us the product to our network of warehouses, and then we will basically say we'll work with you to maybe ship 15 of them to Amazon FBA, ship another 15 to Walmart. The reason is because for FBA, they have a lot of good rates. You put your product into FBA, the rates are good. And when Amazon sees that your products in FBA, your search result might be better in regards to that. I know for a fact that Walmart search result is really good if your products is in Walmart fulfillment services. But again, the storage fee is higher. All right, you want to make sure your product sells. And then what we could do is we're your conduit. Like basically, oh, you need more products, well, we'll ship it into Amazon for you. We'll ship it into Walmart for you, right? So those are the benefits of working with us. Is like we can help you distribute, and also now we can help you sell on Home Depot, Lowe's, Overstock. Then we will help distribute those products for you. And again, these B2B website, you don't pay for the last mile delivery. You just give them a wholesale cost. They will pay for the UPS cost. So that's totally two different things. Amazon, they make you pay for UPS, and Walmart, same thing, right? So those are the two differences. And then as for Amazon, I think they say they do multi-channel fulfillment, but I don't think they can do it. Yeah. So a lot of people, a lot of these the FBAs and the Walmart, and also even I think Wayfair, 𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐭, they can do multi-channel fulfillment. Yeah.
But
When
the
I say
pricing also pretty expensive if the products are good, like especially when it comes to furniture, fulfilling products like furniture, right?
Say again.
The pricing of the Amazon FBA and other fulfillment services
Yeah.
sometimes is a bit compared to the pricing wise on higher expensive type of pricing.
Yeah.
It mostly suits small products and certain products which are quickly and easy to maneuver. Maybe that might be the reason why many large product manufacturers and sellers prefer to work with third parties.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's why Wayfair is, is the leading industry, is a furniture leader compared to Amazon. And when I said earlier, I just want to add one more thing. Some people might say, "Oh, it's not true that Amazon FBA can do multi-channel." Yes, they can do multi-channel in a sense that if it's Shopify or some other let's say eBay or Amazon whatever, yeah, they can do that, because the reason is because you using an Amazon account for your UPS label and you ship it. Of course they could do it. You tell them to ship it whatever it is. But the problem is this: if when I say they cannot do multi-channel distribution, it's the fact that they cannot sell to ship to Home Depot. Why? It's because Home Depot requires you to use their third-party billing, and Amazon, I don't think they have the maybe it's new right now or anything, but they're not capable of doing third-party billing, and that's the some of the problems I see also with other WMS or third-party software, third-party 3PL software. They cannot do third-party billing.
I think you actually spilled a lot of gems for anyone who is listening to or watching Mr. FinTech's video session, because these are like insights, hidden facts, which you figure out after spending either burning a lot of money or maybe serving many businesses across many years. So I think those are really valuable, right? If you had entered the e-commerce business, would you know these things at the first stage itself? What are your thoughts?
No, I wouldn't even know. And I just found out that I think half a year ago, I just found out some of the 3PL cannot do third-party billing, and some of the 3PL software out there can do 3PL billing. And I was like, I was scratching my head, and I was like, why can't they do that? And then I kind of realized why. It's because that a lot of 3PL, they make their money besides the fulfillment and the storage, they also make their money off of the UPS account. So they have a discount, right? What they do is that the more volume they ship under their account, they get a better discount. And what they do is they mark it up like 10%, 15%, and then resell it back to their client, right? So, and if they start using third-party billing, they don't make any more extra money. And that's the whole reason why. And yeah, one of the reasons why. So, yeah.
So these are some interesting facts. I believe that anyone who had been listening to Mr. FinTech's session on e-commerce cash flow solutions would be benefited with these insights and gems which had been spilled by Derrick on how these particular things work together and what you need to know when it comes to having a healthy cash flow solution maintained. So, as an end note, Derrick, what are your thoughts on having a healthy e-commerce based cash flow solution? How would it help any e-commerce seller to scale up? I know for a fact that you have seen new sellers who entered the business as a new business and even went up to be featured on top shows like Ellen Show. You guys had helped them. What potential is there when you have proper cash flow?
When you when you have proper cash flow?
Yep.
Oh yeah, I mean, in the beginning, like let's say this, you have, let's say $30,000-$40,000. You buy a nice container, it sells well, and then obviously you can get, you know, $30,000-$40,000. Yeah, in the beginning, it's easier to manage, right? Once you start growing your business into the hundreds of thousands, that is where you really have to find proper financing for your business. You know, I used to I used to sell bathroom vanities online. And you know, we got up to about like a $10 million annual revenue, B2B side of things, and that's where the financing comes in really hard. You need to carry. At one point we were holding almost like $1.5 million to $2 million in inventory, and then we have to continue to cycle. Now, where can you get that money? The moment you sell in Wayfair and Home Depot, it takes 30 days. Now I need to order more, and that is the whole problem. But then if you have proper financing, make sure that you mark up your wholesale price enough to cover the interest rate for your proper financing. Let's say, for example, like if you know how much you're going to pay for financing, well, mark it up a little bit, or whatever it is if you have to give your finance or your banking your bank every like 2%, make sure that you mark everything up an extra 2%, and it's competitive, and see where you're at. So you have to make sure that you give that portion of the money to your financer.
That gives a glimpse of an idea when you initially start growing, what you define by growth at the initial stages. Okay, when you are doing $5,000 per month, you don't feel okay. That's a problem which you might be experiencing. But for an e-commerce seller from nFinance side, if you had to share this insight, that is what we suggest on our seller empowerment when we help the sellers is, you need to plan your journey, not to be there by just doing a side hustle, or you might be calling it full-time engagement, but it should be not about just selling for $2,000, $5,000 monthly revenue. It should be about scaling up. And for you to scale up, you need to have your cash flow solutions in order, right? It's not only about having a great accounting system, it also needs to think through, okay, how am I going to plan these stages? What are my pricing strategies? Where are my net terms? And have a suitable funding partner who would be able to provide you daily payouts. So you would not need to run to the bank every time to apply personal loan. You would not require the American Express card to call you every time when your card max out. So those are the areas as an e-commerce seller you should be able to think and plan ahead when it comes to planning your e-commerce business. Or if you're already selling, these points would be really helpful. So on today's FinTech Fireside chat with Mr. FinTech, I think we were able to provide some valuable insights for most of our e-commerce sellers, or someone who is keen to join the e-commerce industry and be big in the industry. We have seen certain e-commerce businesses building up to do monthly revenue of multiple millions on a monthly basis. So the opportunity is always there, and having the proper insights, figuring out would really help you. So as an end note, Derrick, I would like to thank you for joining with us today on the FinTech Fireside chat with Mr. FinTech. And also, I would request anyone who is watching this video on YouTube, smash that like button and subscribe us on Mr. FinTech Fireside chat. We would be having such connecting dot sessions related to FinTech, related to e-commerce, and we would look forward to seeing you next time. And I believe Derrick is also happy to connect with Mr. FinTech and have this discussion continued so that many would be benefited on their e-commerce and FinTech journey. Thank
Yeah,
you very
thank you.
much,
And then,
guys.
I want to add one more thing. Build your interest margin into your build your interest into your margin. So
Exactly.
okay.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Bye bye. Thank you, Kalana.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.